in here. We're doing high fives, fist bumps, and why they seem to change as we get older, right? What's going on? What's going on with that, YouTube? What's going on with the high fives and stuff, right? And apparently the fist bumps are like what they're called is a boxer's handshake. It's been around since the 1600s, right? It's pretty wild stuff, right? Pretty wild stuff. Um, but yeah, those high fives, right? Like, I've been noticing these things, right? You know what I mean? Especially like where I work, right? And people are like, the high five, right? When you're younger and you do that high five, right? And you've got no shoulder issues, right? And you're kind of doing that, right? You've got no issues and you can go up high with it, right? And then that mid five, right, where it's just kind of like halfway between the high and the low, right? You just kind of go at the side, depending on like where you are. If you're an athlete or whatever, right, you might even do a low five. And that low five takes into account the fact that there's a shoulder issue, right? When you're, you know what I mean? And it's like context and stuff, and like a social thing when you're addressing someone that's older, right? And you're gonna want to do that low five, right? That low five is important if there's someone with a shoulder issue. So generally, if I'm doing it, right, someone that's younger, yeah, high five, that's fine. The middle five, right? Someone that's a little bit older, maybe there's a little bit of a shoulder issue, but not a lot. And then that low shoulder, that low five, right? Coming in low, working with gravity, right? Working with gravity, right? And then people that are older, especially in North America and stuff, do that low five, right? People who are older have those high fives. How you doing, Ashton? It's good to see you. We're talking about high fives, fist bumps, nods, and all that in between, okay? Stick around towards the end, and I want to chat about how other countries greet each other, right? Very interesting, very different from North America. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. It's good to see you guys. I'm going to address chat towards the end. I don't want to break immersion, right? I want to make sure that I value and I maximize your time, right? And we're at 7.8K views right now. So I thank you, Logan. Good to see you. I know I said I'm adjusting uh, 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 like chat and that sort of thing towards the end. Apologies, but yeah, right. The high fives, the mid fives, and the low fives, right? It's all contextual, right? It's all social, right? Mando, yep, yep. So you can hear me, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, good, 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 good. Awesome, awesome. I just want to make sure you can hear me. All right, I'm gonna pull away from chat just a little bit, right, and bring you in on that high five, right? High five when you're younger, no problems, right? When you're in the mid five, right, and you get into your upper 40s, 50s, and stuff, right? You kind of do that like that kind of side slap, right? And then you got the low five to account those shoulder issues and stuff, right? People that are older, maybe 55, 65 plus, right? So, yeah, chances are they're sitting in one of those motor scooters, right? They're walking around with a walker, they hurt themselves, something like that, right? So, it's always good, right? And see what the other person does and then kind of follow in line, if you know what I mean, right? Read the room. Read the room, YouTube. Am I right? Come on. Come on. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. What what is your go-to physical greeting, right? What do you do? I even asked my kids and they love doing the high five. You know what I mean? And they do the bump sometimes, right? It all depends on how they're feeling. Which is interesting. The kids are 10 and 7, right? So they're a part of that generation alpha. Anyway, yeah, so that's like the entry point in social greetings, right? The entry point is that high five, right? And then you ever like do a high five, right? Like with someone, and then like, especially the first time you see them in the day, right? And you don't quite hit the hand right, right? And it doesn't make the 5 point contact. And then you're like, no, 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 let's bring it back a little bit and let's try again, right? And you do that slap. We feel good about that, don't we, you two? We feel good about that. That 5 point contact, right? Right? allowing that other person, right, to really get in there and do that high five, right? That respect, right? Um, yeah, and so like, and I'm gonna lead in from high fives to fist bumping, right? The fist bumping has actually been around since the 1600s. Did you know that, YouTube? It's called the boxer's handshake, right? When boxers would get together and they hit each other, that's kind of how it started. And now it's like the mid version of the fist bumps that we do today, right? And you got the different ones, right? You got the side pound ones, and then you got the like full on contact, right? The front ones. Some people go up high with it, three quarters, half, but no one goes low, right? They don't do a low. I noticed like the Mario Brothers and that sort of thing, right? They kind of do the side, right? They do the side, the adjacent to fist bump, right? So I don't know what that is. That's a little variant, right? That's a little I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one, right? This one is okay. That one all right. That one's I get it, right? It's less contact, right? You're wearing gloves or something. Boom. You know, hey, I see you, right? Right? Without seeing you, without saying I see you. So, anyway, yeah, we're at 6:30 minutes in. I'm not wasting your time, YouTube. I have notes, right? I got notes, right? I'm not trying to waste your time. We're at 6.8 thousand views. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you. Thank you for taking a chance. Single, double, triple clicking just in case, right? On my channel. I appreciate you. I see you, I value you, and I hear you. So thank you. Thank you for taking a walk with me on on go-to greetings, right? But yeah, that fist bump, and it's like universally welcome too, right? I find that younger people will do it all the way up until like the older people, not elderly, right? I'm gonna be getting into the next part, which is kind of funny. But yeah, those fist bumps, right? And they're not, and they're all ages. It's all ages are welcome, right? Right. We start with that high five, and then we kind of graduate as we get older into the fist bumps, and then you know what I mean, when we do kind of do the nods, right? Which is going to lead me into the next part. But yeah, we got those, and we got those surprise fist bumps, right? Have you ever done like a fist bump and then someone like has their hand out, right, like a claw, and they kind of grab it and they kind of shake it like they don't know what they're doing? That's a little awkward. I'm gonna be honest with you here, right? Right. I'm generally an honest person. I don't really like to say to be honest, to be H, right? It's like, well, when is he not honest? Is he a dishonest person, right? And you start asking questions. I don't want that. You know what I mean? I don't need that. I don't need that. So um, but yeah, like that's the surprise one. That's a little awkward, right? How do we recover from that one, right? It's like, no, 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 right? And you're like, no, 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 let's redo and let's do the three quarter, the half fist bump. And then the nodding, right? The nodding that we do, right? And I've been noticing this, right? And I kind of, right? Especially if you incorporate it with the high five or a fist bump, right? We do a little extra. It's above and beyond. I kind of like it, right? The nodding plus, the low to high, right? The nod, right? When you're younger and gravity's kind of working with you, right? You kind of, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You see someone, you're like, "How you doing?" Right? You know what I mean? Or you're at the club, or you know what I mean? You're trying to meet someone, right? You're meeting your group of people, right? Right? You got a party, you're having a good time, and you just, you know what I mean? How you doing? You know what I mean? Without saying it. But then the older you get, right? The older you get, the more you're like, I'm gonna work with gravity. So it's pulling things down, right? So you go from high to low, right? And I'm not kind of there yet. I haven't graduated to that point. It feels a little awkward and unnatural to me. Like if I wore a driver's cap, right? Or like a vest. I mean, I got my outfit picked out for when I become a grandfather, I hope, right? If my kids decide to have kids, right? Right? Nice khaki collar, you know what I mean? Nice khaki shorts or something. I got the belt. I'm not sagging, right? I'm not wearing skinny jeans. You know what I mean? I got a nice collared shirt, nice tight fade, right? If I'm that kind of person that sees you, I'm like, hey, you got a fresh haircut. I like that. It looks good. It looks good on you, right? You're smiling more. It looks good on you. Recognize that, right? Recognize that in others, right? Right? It's that symbol, right? Move into that. Lean into that, right? Pivot into that. It's good to see you. I noticed you got a haircut, right? People don't notice people, right? They kind of look past that. But just, you know what I mean? They put a little effort in, I'll let them know. They feel good. It's all about making someone feel good, right? Right? Come on. Come on, YouTube. Anyway, yeah, so that nodding, right? And that's, and then there's the wink too, right? You get the wink, right? And people that are older, right? And you know what I mean, they're sitting in those chairs or they're doing the walker and they can't necessarily like shake your hand. Yeah, they can kind of sit down on their walker. Um, they're able to wink, right? They're not going to be doing the other stuff, right? They're, you know what I mean? I'm just, hey, I'm here, right? I'm going to give you a little wink, maybe a little nod, right? Like up to down, right? Working with gravity, right? Because things are pulling you down anyway, right? We got to work with the gravity. Um, and so, yeah, and then like that leads me into like the hugs, right? And this is kind of a bonus section, and I'm gonna cover like where we are in other countries and stuff when they greet each other. This is some good stuff, YouTube. You want to stick around for this. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm gonna go ahead and reach out to chat right now and say thank you, Mando, Dominique, Ashton, The Adventures with Dan, Tyrone, Sir Manuti. It's good to see you, Logan. I think we got a lot of new people up in here. Yeah, like, subscribe, leave a comment, right? If this touches you in a you know what I mean, in a professional, like, I see you and, like, you feel good kinda way, reach out to others, right? Share this stuff. Let's grow together. Let's grow together, right? I'm going over my weekly review with you guys tomorrow morning. I'm excited. I'm excited. You should be too, right? We're in this together, right? We's greater than me, right? Real quick, we greater than me, right? Come on. Yeah. Yeah, this is some good stuff. Metrics are up. Thank you. Appreciate you, right? And real quick though, like I wanted to touch on this, right, with my coffees and stuff, right? You see that lid? You see that little lid right there? You know those lids that you got to pull back? Yesterday got a little aggressive with that lid, right? And I pulled it and it like ripped off, right? You ever do that, right? And you're like you vice grip it and you rip it and you realize you're stronger than you think you are, and then you throw it back, right? They gave me the appropriate ice cubes, right? The lady was such a nice lady that she almost forgot like I didn't pay, and I was like, you're gonna need my card too. But there's a loyalty card, right? So if there is a like local coffee shop where you're at, right? Chances are they have a loyalty card. They're gonna give you the 10th coffee for free. They see you. Other places, you're lucky that they even know who you are, right? Or they acknowledge you at all. And this, right? That's the places that I would give a tip to, right? They don't do that at the bigger places, right? You're lucky that you're even acknowledged, right? Key cards, right? And or like, the codes that they have, right? On the doors, right? Before you can go into the bathroom, or you got to buy something before you go into the bathroom. I mean, that's a video that I've done before on coffee shops, right? 10-digit codes on bathroom doors. Come on. Come on, YouTube. But yeah, support your local coffee shop, right? If you have one in your area, they'll take care of you. They take care of me, so I know they're going to take care of you, right? So anyway, after that, so we got the hugging, right? We got the hugging, and I'm not really one that does the hugging. I'm not super comfortable with that unless it's like my wife or my kids, right? And you know what I mean? We share some DNA, right? We have that genetic component, or my wife, right? Like and we're like one anyway, one entity anyway. So, the better part of me, right? So, she's a great human being, great registered nurse, and she's amazing. If you know her, then she'll take care of you, and always for the other person. Very selfless, very selfless. So, um, you know, but anyway, so yeah, those huggings, right? The hugs that we get, right? We kind of do that like airplane mode, right? When we go like we got a broken wing, right? And we're like one guy or gal takes those arms, right? And they go wide with it, right? They go wide with it, right? They go like that, right? And then the other one goes like this, right? And it forms that X, right? That X format hug, right? That's an interesting one, right? Now you just kind of like you read the other person to whether you're gonna do it or not, right? We're 15 minutes in. We have some time, YouTube. I think I'm working. I'm there working here. I got the notes, right? Not trying to waste your time. Not trying to waste your time. It's a good laugh, right? It's a good laugh. It gets things moving in the system, right? It's what I do, you know? It's what I do. So, but yeah, we got the close friends, right? We got the best friends, right? We do the pat or the shoulder the shoulder squeeze, right? Bring it in a little bit, right? You kind of hook it in there. You kind of do that little like high five. You grab them by the thumb, ring around, boom, right? You lock them in. You're like, yeah, I'm here. You're almost doing like a arm wrestling match, right? But you're not. You're like neutral, right? I see you. I respect you, right? And so you're like that, and then you kind of reach over with the other hand and you do the shoulder squeeze, right? Or like the older people will kind of grab down here by the torso. That's a little vulnerable, right? Even though I'm like I'm starting to get more muscular up in this area, right? I'm like getting tighter there. People are like they kind of do that anyway. I think they're working with the gravity, right? As you get older, you're gonna want to do a low five to people who are older, right? So spouses and stuff, right? Spouses, you're gonna do the hug, the squeeze, the whatevers, right? You get each other, right? You get each other. um the lover hug and stuff, right, where you're like holding each other, right? You're very very close, right? The guy maybe has the double hand, right, the double hand, and they're like grabbing, you know what I mean, grabbing the rear end, just a light little squeeze, right, let you know that you're there, right? And she's doing the same thing, right? And you kind of have that low grab and you're embraced, right? That the lovers hug, I call it. Right. And then the child, right? The child, I mean, you got kids, right? They're gonna jump at you, right? They're gonna try to wrestle you to the ground, grab at your leg, right? You get those kids that like will like run at you, grab you by your lower part of your leg and squeeze, and suddenly you've got like a 20-pound weight on your leg, right? And you can't, and they got vice, like they lock, right? They lock their arms, they lock their ankles, you know what I mean? Like a UFC fighter. They're Fisher Price UFC fighters, right? And then they pull, right? And then you're like, oh, right? Especially you get older and then you fall, they got you, right? They got you, and then they grab you, and they're like, you're done, right? Fisher Price UFC fighters, am I right? Come on, that's funny, right? That's funny. You guys bring out the best in me. I didn't even write that down. That was fantastic, right? It's great, great stuff. Um, but yeah, it's and I'm trying to get more comfortable with the hugs, right? I'm more of a handshake, fist bump, right? That my wife's family, especially my brother-in-law, loves the hugs, right? But I kind of do like I know it's coming, right? And you kind of prepare yourself, so it's like I've done this before, so it's like you kind of you know what I mean, or like I try to initiate, so it's like I have the power there all of a sudden, right? Just kind of like this empowerment thing that happens, right? It's very subtle, but it happens, right? If you're aware of it, you got to have the hugging sight, right? You got to be able to see that, right? So, just think about it, right? So yeah, we covered high fives, we covered fist bumping, we covered nodding, right? We covered hugs and the bowing, right? The bowing. This leads me into the other countries and stuff, right? When you go to another country, right, and you bow, like in Japan, right, in that culture, we're 19 minutes 30 seconds, right? They bow between like 15 degrees to 90, like a slight bow. And I think the more like social status you have, and the more like you're up there, right? The more bow, right? And so like 90 degrees is the max, right? 90 degrees is the max. That's why you're just kind of bent and your back forms a straight line, right, to your head. And then there's a 15-degree too, right? So if there's anyone out there who's spent any time in Japan, Far East, right? It's good to see you guys. Good to see you all. Good to see my regulars. If you're new here, hey, like, subscribe, leave a comment, right? However this my content found you, I welcome you, right? I welcome you. High five, fist bump, right? Little nod, you know? Keep it natural. You don't need to overthink it, right? Always here, always. We're 20 minutes in. This is one of my best. And I feel like YouTube, I feel like I'm getting a little better. What do you think? Right? I still get a little butterflies now and then, right? Because I'm trying to set up and I want to hit right there at 9:30, right? I don't want any delay, because I'm not trying to waste your time. You guys could be sitting there just waiting for me, sitting at your coffee table, sitting on the pot, at work's bathroom, right? Wherever you are in the world, right? You're at a light, right? And you can only listen to me, right? That's okay too, because my voice is funny too. So, hey, there it is. There it is. But yeah, I covered Japan a little bit, but in France, right? You're in France, right? And you go and like you greet someone, they do the kiss, right? They do the right, kind of to the side, right? They do the side kiss. I haven't done that before. I don't know how natural I would be about that. So, all right, yeah. There you go. There you go. That's nice. That's very honest of you, and I appreciate that you shared that, Mando. Let's hear it from Mando, huh? Like, subscribe, leave a comment, guys. You know what I mean? And in Italy, Spain, and Southern Europe, it's big on the two kisses, right? The two air kisses, right? And that's how it's done there, right? That's how it's done. But it's always better to allow, especially if you go to another country for the first time and you don't know the social niceties or greetings, allow them to initiate, right? Or you be honest and you be like, I don't know what's going on here, right? So it's like, however you're doing it, you know what I mean? You lead this dance, okay? I'll be the follower, you be the leader. Um, in Latin America, one or two, right? And there's minimal contact too, right? There's minimal contact, right? In Japan, South Korea, and China, right? They do the bowing, no more than 90 degrees. Deep bows, you know what I mean? If they're, really, really up there, they're important, right? Older people, some countries will drop to their knees, right? In respect. And it's always, always appreciated and encouraged to say, to greet the older person before anyone else in the group. Like if you're initiating that group, right? You're getting into that group, initiate the older person first out of respect. So and then we have yeah, and then, like, I wanted to end here though, with New Zealand. New Zealand cultures, and right, especially like on islands and stuff, right? They do a press to the forehead, right? And this is like in a relationship and stuff, right? So this is kind of like you've made it, you're in there, you're doing it. Um, right? And you're like you have that trust, right? They're pressing the forehead together, and then they do like a little nose touch, like they touch the edge of their nose to the other person's nose to the forehead. So that's the thing, right? So hey, other cultures, right? We're learning stuff. We're having a good time. It's good to see you. 24 minutes in, and I'm wrapping up here. So yeah, and then and Greenland, right? And I'll end here before I wrap it up, for the day. But the Kunik people in Greenland. Do you know what these guys do? It's interesting, right? They do the forehead to sniff. They sniff, right? Like a right. They get in there and they, you know what I mean, nose to nose, right, or like cheek to cheek, and they right. Animals do the same thing. I mean, we're not gonna go over there and smell their, you know what I mean, their cracks, right? But I get why they do that, though. You get why they do that, right? You too, right, chat, right? They want to get a sense of the other person's health, right? The other animal's health, right? And That I find that interesting, like, that would be hilarious if 2 people got together and they were, you know what I mean? They kinda, like, they did, like, a 90-degree bow and they kinda turned their heads and they were right? You got something going on there? 'Cause I mean, I'll do, like, a smell. I got sensitivity with smell, right? And I know, like, you get those people with the really terrible breath and that sort of thing, right? And you know there's something going on internally there. You're a little nice, right? And you wanna pop a breath mint, right? You know? Gum gum doesn't is not really encouraged, but the breath mint is, right? Because it dissolves, right? And it's always good to offer the other person one after you take one, not first, otherwise it's insulting, right? Come on, right? Right? So that's kinda where I'm at, right? That's where I'm at. So, um, but yeah, that's about all I have, YouTube. Thank you for joining me in sunny California here, right? Happy Monday, July 6th. Okay, when we're going to be going over metrics tomorrow, same time, 9:30, right? And then we'll kind of assess things, right? We'll see what's going on, right? And the metrics are good, right? The subscriber count, the viewer count, the watch hour count, right? You guys are liking this stuff. This is good. This is good quality content, right? I'm trying to waste your time. I write notes, sometimes really early in the morning, right? I'm excited. I'm excited. This is exciting stuff. This is we're moving, right? We're going forward here. That's all we have, right? Can't make up yesterday. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. You got right now. So I thank you for that. I thank you. Thank you for taking a chance, right? And hit that like, subscribe, right? There's some people that tune in and they don't hit the subscribe. Hit the subscribe. It helps the channel, it helps me out, helps you out, right? Because I see you, right? Right? So that's why I do this. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Okay. Thank you for your time. I'm Loud Italian. It's good to see you guys. And we're under 30 minutes, so my time management's getting better, I think, YouTube. It's getting better, right? About 2 pages in my notes is about 30 minutes, right? So, um, but yeah, that's all I have. So today, and that's it, right? High fives, fist bumps, and nods, and why things change as we get older, right? So yeah, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Mando, thank you. Ashton, thank you. Dominique, thank you. The Adventure with Dan, thank you. Tyrone, thank you. Sir Manuti, hope I got that right. Thank you. Logan, thank you. All you guys, I said Ashton, I think, but thank you guys. Thank you for continuing to show up, right? Thank you for showing up. We're here, right? We're making it happen, and I thank you for that. Thank you for that, right? I thank you. And hopefully I'll catch you tomorrow, right? And this isn't goodbye. This isn't goodbye to you. This is see you later. Because goodbye is something you say to someone that you don't want to see again. So to you, I say see you later.